I'm not gonna sit here and say like, yo, I always believe, because I didn't. There was days, there was a point, a period at first, so it was like, man, I remember I told my mom, like, maybe in the first 2 or 3 weeks or so, we were sitting at the counter. I was just like, Mom, like, oh, this might be it.
First off, Jason, just want to thank you for taking the time. Obviously, there's a lot to talk about with the Achilles injury, and I know it's maybe not your favorite topic to talk about. So, just appreciate you opening up about it and talking about your experience. I want to ask you, in that moment, such a pivotal game, pivotal moment in the game, and then you have that step, you go down. What's running through your mind? How quickly did you realize what it was?
Right away. I think, as a basketball player, as an athlete, we understand injuries and movements that are connected with them. You know, you push off, you step back, you kind of elongate that tendon. A lot of people in the past have talked about how they felt like they were kicked.
Yeah.
And some people talked about, how they heard a pop, right? And for me, it did feel like somebody kicked me. I knew where I was at on the court, that nobody was behind me. But I heard it. I heard it pop, and you just fall, like you just really lose your balance. And I remember grabbing my calf, and I knew right away what just happened. And my body like went into shock, and I was like squirming on the ground, and like all these things went to my mind. It was just like, no way, this just happened to me.
Yeah. And then your teammates come up, you're still, like you're saying, you're still processing all of this. How do you manage that when you've been working so hard with your teammates to get to this point, and then it's out of your control and it's kind of taken away from you? How do you just process that?
I mean, I didn't. I broke down, and I could not control it, because, like you said, I knew the magnitude of the moment. I understood like how hard I had worked to get to this point.
Yeah.
I was trying to win my second championship, and I couldn't understand, because I felt great. Like, I felt fine. It wasn't like I knew something was lingering or something was hurting. So that crushed me, and then just the not knowing what's next. Like, I mean, obviously knowing that, this is a long journey of recovery, but, I was like, am I going to be the same, or am I going to get traded? Like, you just have this idea of what the next X amount of years of your life is going to look like. And then, it all changed.
Yeah. Where are you now in your rehab? How are you feeling? Where are things progressing as far as just the recovery?
Man, today, Tuesday, 19 weeks. I am 19 weeks, so I'm almost 5 months. It's been a long journey. It has 6 days a week of rehab, going through all the phases of, surgery, to stitches, to, 50% weight bearing.
Right.
Kind of, while we're here, announcing my partnership with Vertex Pharmaceuticals. Like, at that point, is when, at 4 weeks I introduced 50% weight bearing. And, I remember talking to the doctor, and he was like, yo, you might experience some pain or discomfort.
Right.
And I did. And that's when we had a conversation, and he prescribed me Genavix, as a non-opioid medicine for moderate to severe acute pain. And with medicine, things have side effects.
Sure.
But, personally, my experience, I didn't have any side effects, and it relieved me of my pain. And, I think that was very, very helpful for me in that moment. And, just throughout this journey, like, that is one phase of it. And then, you get to a phase where you drop the crutches, and then you get to a phase where you finally get out of the boot. And now you're like, man, I feel like a normal human again. Like, I got a shoe on. I haven't wore a shoe in 12 weeks, all the way till now. So it's
almost like you're measuring little steps.
That's the best way to look at it. Is like, man, like, what is the next milestone that I can get to, right? And that's just kind of what this process has been like.
How bad was the pain in terms of post-op? From what I've understood, I've never torn my Achilles. For what I understand, it's actually not that painful of an injury. It's just like the the after effects of like the operation and then all of that.
Well, it depends. Everybody is different. Like if it's a partial tear, then you
Right.
still have some of the tendon connected, then that can be pretty painful. If you just like completely tear it, then
Right.
obviously, the nerves and all that are separated. So it's not
Right.
as painful. And everybody kind of responds to, surgery differently. Um, I just remember after surgery, like how heavy my leg felt.
Interesting.
That was something I really like. I just remember it vividly that day. Like my leg just felt like it weighed 1,000 pounds.
Yeah. I want to go back to the actual like biomechanics step and the way it happened. Obviously, the tendon, the way you kind of went back to then propel yourself forward, it just stretched. Were there any other factors aside from that sort of like dorsiflexion that you can pinpoint?
No, and trust me, I've asked 1,000 questions to 1,000 different people. What could I have done to prevent this? What, more could I
Right.
have done? Like my body felt great. I worked out. I lift weights every morning of every game. So I worked out that morning. And it was tough because the next day, before you have surgery, they have to MRI the site. And I remember he came in, he was like, yo, like, you have a perfectly healthy tendon. Like, this is a strong tendon. You just kind of got unlucky.
Yeah.
And that was kind of like the last thing I wanted to
Right.
hear in that moment. But it's just kind of tough with this injury. They haven't really been able to figure out why, it happens to certain people.
It's interesting because the false step, negative step, or whatever you call it, that happens. I mean, like probably hundreds of times a game on the court.
Thousands of times. I've
Yeah.
done that 1,000 times in my career. And I've pushed off harder, 1,000 times
Right.
other than that. Like I remember we turned the ball over and I remember I just kind of lunged forward and it was just like, pow.
Yeah.
I didn't push off any harder than I normally, would have.
Right. Right. Um, what I appreciate about the sort of path that you've been on after suffering the injury, you've been pretty open, especially like on social media, about kind of sharing the positives, but sharing some of the negatives too. I think on Twitter, like you were like day 45. This is some,
Some,
yeah. What was happening that day? Like it seemed like that was kind of the lowest part of this.
so how I kind of explain is like there are there are times like there's these milestones where you trying to you got something to look forward to. All right, 2 weeks we get our stitches out, and then 2 weeks, all right, you get to put some weight on your foot, and
Right.
then 2 weeks after that we drop it, 20 degrees because it's like you start off like this, and then after 2 weeks, um, and sometimes you just kind of feel like you hit a wall because I'm going to the gym 6 days a week, and Monday through Thursday you might feel the same. Like man, I'm doing all this work, and like
Yeah.
I feel the same as I did Thursday as I did on Monday. Uh, and it was just one of them days where it's like, man, this is like, it's just Groundhog Day. I just feel like I'm doing the same thing every single day. And, I feel like I'm in the same spot. And then one day you go in the gym and it's like, oh, all right, it's coming back to me. Like,
Yeah.
I wasn't able to do this last week. Like,
Yeah.
my confidence is getting better. So it's been days like that.
Who have you been leaning on in your life to kind of help you get through some of these moments when it's just like it seems interminable or there's all these things stacked against you?
Uh, I mean, my friends, one of my best friends is my trainer. My other best friend is a videographer, and another guy who works for the Celtics. He's a coach. Like three of my best friends literally live in Boston. We all live together. I got two kids, Deuce and Dylan. My mom. There's a lot of times I would call my grandma. She lives back home in St. Louis.
Yeah.
And so I would just call my grandma just crying like, this is a lot. And, she would sit there, she'd talk with me, she'd pray with me, she would cry with me. So it's just been a lot of people throughout this journey that, have helped me get through it.
Yeah. I imagine you also have to have some sort of like resolve or faith or just trust that you will get back to where you were, if not better. I mean, you're still like in the prime of your career. You guys have a great organization. Um, where do you like how do you sort of come back to that faith, that trust that you'll get back?
I'm not going to sit here and say like, yo, I always believe because I didn't. days. There was a period at first, so it was like, man, I remember I told my mom, like, maybe in the first 2 or 3 weeks or so, we were sitting at the counter. I was just like, Mom, like, I don't know, this might be it. Like,
Hmm.
I, it's just, it's just gonna be so much I got to do to like get back to playing, right? And one of the toughest things for me was like, everybody was like, yo, you gonna come back better than ever. And it was like, well, listen, I was already first team All NBA year after year after year. It's like,
Yeah.
you it was kind of like, yo, you don't know how hard I had to work to be at that.
Yeah.
And now it's like, yo, I got to start all the way over.
Yeah.
Uh, but, it's just like, man, what I've realized is like, I can't look too far ahead.
Right.
Then I got discouraged. It was just
Yeah.
like, yo, can I feel more confident today than I did yesterday?
Right.
And that's
Right.
all I kind of try to do.
I'll have a couple more for you. I want to go back to the sort of like the step and this thing. I mean, like you said, you've done this probably thousands, if not tens of thousands of times in your life, just playing. I imagine you can't whenever you do get back, and I know you as you just said, it's still a ways away, but it seems to me that you can't really like second guess your movements or kind of like have it in your head. And I imagine it'll take some time to get back to where you're comfortable. But um, do you think you will have to change the way you play, or are you going to look to just when you get back be doing the same explosive movements, playing the same way that you were?
Uh, so one like silver lining, or one of the silver linings I found throughout this is like, I've had 19 weeks to kind of, you know, rehab and strengthen my calf to get it as strong as my left one or stronger, but also like really work on my body. Like,
Mm.
I went 19 weeks. I haven't put any stress on my legs by running or playing basketball. I've really been in the weight room 6 days a week, working on my core, working on my legs, quads, hamstrings, and all that. Like, I'm injured, but ironically, the rest of my body like
Yeah.
is as strong as it's ever been. So I see a world in which I come back and it's like, yo, my body has never felt this good, probably since I was like 19 or something
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah. Looking to the season ahead, going to be a different role for you, obviously. How are you planning to stay engaged? Like you'll be training and working on and all that, but I imagine you'll also be able to maybe like almost take like a coach's view. Will you be able to like really sort of assess things differently? What's your plan as far as, you can't be out there on the court, but how will you help your team?
Hey, yeah, like you said, I'm still very much a part of the team. I'll be around practice days, meetings, go to the games and travel with the team and stuff
Yeah.
like that. And my voice still matters. I can be there. I'm gonna watch the games and try to, help in any way I can for us to win games.
Yeah. It's a different year for you guys. I mean, losing Kristaps, losing Drew, those are big parts of your team, especially during the title run. But I like I said, you guys have such an excellent organization where I think like bringing in Anthony could be something where, as he was good in Portland, he was
Yeah.
really solid, but like I'll be curious to see what you guys can do with him. Um, what how do you see this team? Uh, what do you think the expectations are for you guys this year?
I think first and foremost, the culture that we built with the Celtics, the standard that we hold ourselves to, doesn't change regardless of the team that we have. And on top of that, we still have we got Sam, we got D White, we got Peyton, we got JB. We still have guys that were on that championship team that
Yeah.
knows what it takes. And then we're bringing in guys like Anthony, who's been very, very good in the NBA in a different, environment. And now we're bringing him into an environment where, the expectations are a little different. And, he's an unbelievable player. And I think he will thrive in a situation like that. And we have, other guys that were in different situations. So we got new faces on the team. And I've been able to see them in the gym the last couple of weeks, ramping up the start of the season. So, it's going to be a different year.
Yeah.
But the standards are still the same, regardless of who's out there.
So let's move on to the last one, Jason. Thanks again for the time. you were talking about like the steps in the rehab and the progression. What's the immediate goal for you right now in terms of, you know, you said 19 weeks by week 20 or by week 25 in a month. Um, you know, what is the goal?
Uh, well, yesterday was the first time I got on court and did like a basketball workout. Um, so I was on court for like 15 minutes, give or take. So the goal is just getting more comfortable. I've been jogging. I think the next is like sprinting, and then it'll be uh, you know, changing directions and things like that.
Yeah.
So just gradually getting my workouts to look how they used to when I was back healthy.
Yeah. Were you dying to put up a jump shot?
Yeah.
I bet. I bet.